Welcome to the video. We're breaking down the history of gaming consoles. Hope you enjoy. From a simple glowing dot on a 1970s TV to entire photorealistic worlds that you can hold in the palm of your hand. The history of the video game console is one of the wildest stories in modern tech. It's a story of breakthroughs, bitter rivalries, and pure creative genius. It's the story of how a simple electronic toy grew up to become the biggest entertainment medium on the planet. Just think about it. The pixels of our childhoods, the roar of a 16-bit dragon, that first time you stepped into a 3D world, or the moment you connected your console to the internet to play with someone on the other side of the globe. These machines weren't just plastic boxes under our TVs. They were gateways to other universes, the start of new friendships, and the foundation for so many of our favorite memories. Today, we're taking a chronological trip through every mainstream home video game system, starting with the 1972 Magnavox Odyssey and going all the way to the powerhouse systems of today. We'll see how Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and the original trailblazers at Atari and Sega kept building on what came before, creating the gaming world we know and love. This is how gaming took over. Our story starts not with a bang, but with a humble brown box. In 1972, the world met the Magnavox Odyssey. This wasn't just a new gadget. It was a whole new category of gadget. It was the very first commercial home video game console. There was no sound, no color, and the games were so basic you had to tape plastic overlays onto your TV screen just to know what you were looking at. Yet, its importance is impossible to overstate. It was the spark that started it all. It proved people actually wanted to play games at home, selling around 350,000 units and paving the way for everything to come. But the idea of swapping out games, something we completely take for granted, wasn't there yet. That all changed in 1976 with the Fairchild Channel F. This console was a huge leap forward because it was the first to use programmable ROM cartridges. For the first time ever, you weren't stuck with the games built into the box. You could buy new ones, plug them in, and have a totally new experience. This single idea, the game cartridge, would define the industry for the next 2 decades. The Channel F itself wasn't a smash hit, but its contribution was monumental. The console that took that idea and ran with it was the Atari 2600, released in 1977. If the Odyssey was the spark and the Channel F was the kindling, the Atari 2600 was the bonfire. It combined the cartridge concept with a more powerful machine and, most importantly, iconic games. Atari brought arcade hits like Space Invaders and Pac-Man into the living room. The 2600 became a cultural phenomenon, popularizing home gaming on a massive scale and selling around 30 million units in its lifetime. That wood-grain paneling and chunky joystick are an enduring symbol of gaming's first golden age. In the early 80s, Atari's success led to a chaotic, unregulated market. A flood of terrible games, like the legendary flop E.T., the extraterrestrial, caused players to lose faith. The result was the infamous video game crash of 1983, where the US market's revenue dropped by a shocking amount. Some estimates say as much as 97%. Many thought the video game fad was over. But across the ocean, a Japanese playing card company was getting ready to revive the entire industry. That company was Nintendo, and its secret weapon was the family computer, or Famicom, released in Japan in 1983. This was a machine built with one thing in mind: quality. Nintendo created the Nintendo Seal of Quality, a promise that games on their system wouldn't be shovelware. The Famicom was a sensation in Japan. 2 years later, a redesigned Famicom came to a very skeptical North America. For its limited test market launch in 1985, it was called the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES. To avoid the bad reputation of video games, it was marketed as an entertainment system, sometimes even bundled with a toy robot named ROB. But the real star was the software. Packed in with a revolutionary game called Super Mario Bros., the NES didn't just sell, it conquered, hitting the wider retail market in 1986. It revived the American video game industry and made Nintendo the undisputed king. With its iconic D-pad and a library of legends like The Legend of Zelda and Metroid, the NES defined the 8-bit era. Of course, a king always has a challenger. In 1986, Sega threw its hat in the ring with the Sega Master System. On paper, the Master System had some technical advantages over the NES, with the potential for brighter colors and more detailed sprites. It found a lot of success in Europe and Brazil, with great games like Phantasy Star. But in the critical North American and Japanese markets, Nintendo's hold on developers and stores was just too strong. The Master System was a distant second, but it was a clear sign that Sega meant business. The first shots of a legendary console war had been fired. Even Atari tried to get its crown back. In 1986, they released the Atari 7800. The console was actually designed back in 1984, but its launch was delayed by the industry crash and chaos within Atari's own corporate structure. The 7800 had a great feature. It was backward compatible with the huge library of Atari 2600 games. It was a solid machine with great arcade ports, but by the time it finally came out, it was too little, too late. The world had moved on, and Nintendo's NES was a juggernaut that no competitor could stop. As the 80s closed, a new buzzword was on every kid's lips: 16-bit. This new generation promised better graphics, richer sound, and bigger games. The first to make a splash was NEC's PC Engine in Japan in 1987, which was later redesigned for North America in 1989 as the TurboGrafx 16. It was a powerful 16-bit system with a fantastic library of arcade-style shooters and unique games like Bonk's Adventure. Unfortunately, due to a mix of marketing and timing, it never quite caught on in the West. The real war for 16-bit dominance was fought between two giants. Sega struck first, and they struck hard. In 1988, they launched the Sega Mega Drive in Japan, which came to North America in 1989 as the Sega Genesis. With a slick black design and a marketing campaign full of attitude, the Genesis positioned itself as the cool, edgy alternative to Nintendo. The slogan, "Genesis does what Nintendo don't," was a direct shot at the champ, and they had a new mascot to back it up, a lightning-fast blue hedgehog named Sonic. Nintendo took its time getting into the 16-bit race, finally releasing the Super Nintendo, or SNES, in North America in 1991. It might have been late to the party, but it arrived with a secret weapon, a custom graphics chip that allowed for cool scaling and rotation effects, a feature called Mode 7. This was shown off brilliantly in games like F-Zero. The SNES controller was also an evolution, adding shoulder buttons that would influence controller designs for decades. What followed was one of the greatest rivalries in entertainment history. The Genesis had speed, attitude, and Sonic. The SNES had technical tricks and an incredible library of deep RPGs like Chrono Trigger. It was a culture clash that forced both companies to create some of the best games ever made. Meanwhile, a company called SNK took a totally different approach. Known for their arcade machines, they decided to bring the arcade experience home. Literally. The Neo Geo, released in 1990, was an incredibly powerful and incredibly expensive console. The hardware was identical to their arcade cabinets, which meant the games were pixel perfect. The cartridges were huge and the price was astronomical. The console alone was over $600 at launch. For the few who could afford it, the Neo Geo was the absolute peak of 2D gaming luxury. As the 16-bit war raged, the next big thing was already here: the compact disc. CDs offered way more storage than cartridges, allowing for full motion video, CD quality music, and bigger game worlds. Sega was one of the first to jump on this with the Sega CD, an add-on for the Genesis released in 1991. While it had some gems like Sonic CD, the add-on was expensive and often criticized for its reliance on grainy video games. It was a glimpse of the future, but not quite the revolution people were hoping for. The promise of a new CD-based generation attracted new players. In 1993, the 3DO interactive multiplayer arrived. It was a powerful 32-bit machine, but its launch price of $699.99 made it a non-starter for most people. The 3DO quickly became a cautionary tale about pricing in the console market. That same year, Atari made its last stand with the Atari Jaguar. Marketed with the confusing claim of being the world's first 64-bit system, a boast built on a complex multi-chip architecture, the Jaguar was a powerful but difficult machine to develop for. It also stuck with cartridges as the world was moving to CDs. A few games like Alien vs. Predator were great, but the library was tiny. The Jaguar was a commercial failure, and it marked the sad end of Atari's incredible run as a console maker. The true start of the 3D era kicked off in 1994. Sega launched the Sega Saturn, a 2D powerhouse that could run perfect arcade conversions. But its complex dual-processor design made it a nightmare for developers trying to create 3D games. The Saturn found a solid fan base in Japan, but its rushed surprise launch in North America damaged relationships with retailers, and it never recovered. The company that capitalized on Sega's blunder was a total newcomer, Sony. After a failed partnership with Nintendo, Sony decided to build its own console. The result, also released in 1994, was the PlayStation. The PlayStation was sleek, relatively affordable, and expertly designed for 3D gaming. With smart marketing aimed at an older audience, it brought gaming into the mainstream like never before, with huge franchises like Gran Turismo and Final Fantasy VII. The PlayStation didn't just win the console war, it changed how the world saw video games. Nintendo, as always, did its own thing. While everyone else used CDs, Nintendo stuck with cartridges for their next console, the Nintendo 64, released in 1996. They argued cartridges meant no loading times, but it also meant smaller, more expensive games. Still, the N64 was a 3D monster. It also popularized a crucial innovation, the analog stick. Paired with the groundbreaking launch title Super Mario 64, the N64 taught the world how to move in a 3D space. With legendary multiplayer games like GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64, the N64 sold over 32 million units and proved that amazing software could still win the day. The turn of the millennium marked the sixth console generation, and it started with a machine that was way ahead of its time. Sega, desperate to recover from the Saturn, launched the Dreamcast in North America on the iconic date of September 9th, 1999. It was the first console with a built-in modem for online play, years ahead of the competition. The Dreamcast was beloved for its creative and unique library, including the ambitious Shenmue and the pioneering online RPG, Phantasy Star Online. But it couldn't escape the shadow of the Saturn's failure or the hype for Sony's next machine. That machine was the PlayStation 2. Launched in 2000, the PS2 had two killer features. First, it was backward compatible with the massive PlayStation library. Second, and maybe more importantly, it played DVD movies. At a time when DVD players were still expensive, the PS2 was a genius move. It became the entertainment hub of the living room, selling over 155 million units to become the best-selling home console of all time. Its incredible library included hits like Grand Theft Auto 3 and God of War, and its dominance was so complete that it ultimately forced Sega out of the console hardware business for good. In 2001, Nintendo joined the generation with the GameCube. It was a quirky purple cube with a handle that used its own mini-disc format instead of DVDs. The GameCube had a fantastic controller and some of Nintendo's most polished games ever, like Metroid Prime and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. But it struggled against the PS2's market share and a kiddie image that Nintendo couldn't seem to shake. It sold a respectable 21.7 million units, but was seen as a distant second. That same year, a new giant entered the arena. Microsoft, the PC software titan, launched the Xbox. The Xbox was basically a powerful gaming PC in a big black box. It was far more powerful than its rivals and was the first mass-market console to make a built-in hard drive a standard feature, which meant no more memory cards. But Microsoft's real secret weapon was Xbox Live. While the Dreamcast pioneered online console gaming, Microsoft perfected it with a user-friendly subscription service. The service launched alongside a single system-defining game, Halo: Combat Evolved. Halo revolutionized console first-person shooters and made Xbox Live a must-have. The Xbox established Microsoft as a serious player and set the stage for an online-focused future. We're about to head into the HD era, where the fight between Sony and Microsoft heats up and Nintendo decides to change the rules of the game entirely. If you're enjoying this trip through gaming history, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what happens next. The seventh generation was all about the jump to high definition, better online services, and one company completely changing what a controller could be. Microsoft was first out of the gate, launching the Xbox 360 in 2005. It built on the success of the original Xbox with a vastly improved Xbox Live, that became the standard for online gaming. The 360 also introduced Achievements, a metagame of challenges that added a whole new layer of replayability. With a year-long head start and huge franchises like Gears of War and Halo, the Xbox 360 was a massive success. Sony's PlayStation 3 launched a year later in 2006. The PS3 was an ambitious and powerful machine built around the brand new Blu-ray format. But that power came at a cost. The PS3 launched with a steep $599 price tag, and its complex processor made it tough for developers to work with at first. Despite a rocky start, Sony stuck with it. They made online play on the PlayStation Network free, a key difference from Xbox Live. Over time, the PS3 became home to some of the most acclaimed exclusives of all time, like The Last of Us and Uncharted 2. The built-in Blu-ray player also helped it win the format war against HD DVD, and eventually the PS3 caught up to and even surpassed the Xbox 360 in worldwide sales. But the biggest story of this generation wasn't the war between Sony and Microsoft. It was Nintendo. Also, in 2006, Nintendo released the Wii. While its rivals chased HD graphics, Nintendo focused on a new way to play. The Wii Remote was a motion-sensing wand that let players control games with physical gestures. It was revolutionary. The pack-in game, Wii Sports, became a global phenomenon, attracting a massive new audience of casual players. The Wii was a runaway success that consistently outsold its competition for much of its lifespan, becoming one of the best-selling consoles of all time and proving that innovative gameplay could be just as important as raw power. Following up on the Wii's historic success was never going to be easy. In 2012, Nintendo released its successor, the Wii U. The console's main feature was the gamepad, a big controller with its own touchscreen. This allowed for asymmetric gameplay, where one person had a different view than players looking at the TV. It was an interesting idea that led to some unique games, like Nintendo Land, but the marketing was confusing. Many people weren't sure if it was a new console or just a Wii add-on. That confusion, plus weak third-party support, led to a commercial failure. The Wii U sold under 14 million units, but its core concept, playing console games on a handheld screen, laid the groundwork for Nintendo's triumphant comeback. A year later, in 2013, Sony and Microsoft launched the next generation. Learning from the PS3's difficult launch, Sony designed the PlayStation 4 to be powerful but developer-friendly. They focused on being for the players, emphasizing social features like the new Share button. This strategy, plus a lower price point than its rival at launch, was a huge hit. The PS4 dominated the market, selling over 117 million units and becoming home to acclaimed exclusives like God of War and Marvel's Spider-Man. Microsoft's Xbox One also launched in 2013, but it had a troubled start. Microsoft initially focused on the Xbox One as an all-in-one media center and announced controversial policies about used games and online check-ins, which caused a huge backlash. They reversed those policies before launch, but the damage was done. Over time, however, the Xbox One evolved into a fantastic console. Microsoft's introduction of Xbox Game Pass, a Netflix for Games subscription service, was a game-changing move that offered incredible value and became the core of their strategy. Then in 2017, Nintendo returned. Their answer was the Nintendo Switch. The Switch was the full realization of the Wii U's promise. A hybrid console that could be played on a TV at home or taken on the go as a powerful handheld. It was a simple, brilliant idea, executed perfectly. Launching with one of the most acclaimed games ever, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, the Switch was an instant hit. It combined Nintendo's home and handheld legacies into one device and has sold over 140 million units, completely redefining what a home console can be. This brings us to today and the 9th generation of consoles, which began in late 2020. This era is all about performance, with a focus on eliminating loading times, hitting higher frame rates, and advanced graphics like ray tracing. Microsoft launched two consoles, the powerful Xbox Series X and the smaller digital-only Xbox Series S. Microsoft's core strategy isn't just selling hardware. It's about getting players into their ecosystem, built around the incredible value of Xbox Game Pass. Releasing all of their own games on the service on day one is changing the economics of gaming. Sony also launched its new machine in 2020, the PlayStation 5. The PS5 has been a massive success, driven by powerful hardware and a focus on high-budget, narrative-driven exclusive games. Its standout features include an ultra-high-speed SSD that makes loading screens nearly disappear, and the innovative DualSense controller with its advanced haptic feedback. And what about the future? The lines between console generations are getting blurry. Mid-generation refreshes like the PS5 Slim are now common, and the rise of cloud gaming suggests a future that might not be tied to a physical box. As for Nintendo's latest console, the Switch 2 has achieved a sales milestone that took its rivals much longer to reach, selling nearly 20 million units in its first year. Nintendo just shattered records, moving over 3.5 million units in just 4 days. It's officially their fastest-selling system ever. It has upped the competition once again for its competitors PlayStation and Xbox. From the simple blips of the Magnavox Odyssey to the vast connected worlds we play in today, the evolution of the video game console is a testament to human creativity and our endless love of play. We've gone from moving a single dot to exploring photorealistic galaxies. We've seen bitter rivals become partners in cross-platform play. Each console we talked about was a chapter in a bigger story, a story that we've all been a part of. These machines shaped our culture, defined our childhoods, and brought joy to billions. The journey is far from over. As technology keeps moving, who knows what the consoles of tomorrow will look like? But one thing is certain. The spirit of innovation and the magic of play will always be at the center of it all. Now, I want to hear from you. Which console defined your childhood? Was it the NES, the PlayStation, the Xbox 360? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to read your stories. Thanks for watching.